Good afternoon, everybody. Come on, it's not a Republican fundraiser. It is great to be here with the greatest delegate. Now, I just left Charney O'Herring, so we won't say what I say, but the greatest delegate in the House of Delegates, Scott Surovell. Give him a great round of applause. I wanted to come by because, you know, Scott was actually chair of the Fairfax Party. As you know, Dorothy and I have lived there for over 20 years, raised our 5 children there, but I worked a lot with Scott. You know, as you know, you won't find a more tireless advocate for his constituents than Scott. He is relentless. If he believes in something, get out of the way, because he will continue to fight for you every single day. But what he needs, he's got so many great ideas, but we need a majority for really Scott to be effective. So we need a majority in the House of Delegates. And you know, we've got this whole redistricting thing we just went through. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not the biggest fan of it because I don't like going into these things where, well, maybe we'll keep or pick up 1 seat in the Senate, but in the House we can limit our losses. I don't believe you go into elections saying you want to limit your losses. How about us winning the House of Delegates? A lot of big elections coming up this year. As you may or may not know, last year I actually ran for governor, and I ran. I said, "Thank you." There's Bruce, my 1 vote. Thank you, brother. I think Kathy did too, but whatever. I ran a campaign, big ideas, renewable energy, shutting down payday lending stores, getting a total lobbying ban on members of the General Assembly. A lot of stuff I thought we should be doing. And I said, if you don't like my big ideas, don't vote for me. And you didn't. So, but it's great to be back. The issues I talked about when I ran are still more prevalent today than I think they were back then. We got a lot of work, folks, a lot of things. We have not gone forward. We have gone backwards. I know Bob's for Jobs talks about these great press releases, but if you take the population growth here in Virginia, we are net zero on job creation since he became governor. We've sent the wrong message, I think, to the Attorney General Cuccinelli going after our UVA professor. And the point is, we want to make ourselves welcoming here in Virginia. We need jobs. I go back to my basic argument when I ran for governor. We need new jobs. Department of Defense is cutting $78 billion. Well, that disproportionately affects us here in Virginia when we get $35 billion a year, which equates to about 530,000 jobs. Those cutbacks are going to hurt us here, so we got to diversify our economy. I talked about green a lot. You all laughed at me. I talked about chicken waste. I get excited about chicken waste. But you know, at the end of the day, if we're polluting the Chesapeake, we can convert all that chicken waste into energy. So I talked about these since the campaign. I've gone out and I've done what I said I'd do. I'm just not doing it as governor. As you probably know, I've started an electric hybrid vehicle company. We are building cars today. I've done something no one's ever done before. I went to China and bought one of their big electric car companies and actually moved it to the United States of America. So, Chinese company brought here to America. We're now manufacturing my first plant. I wanted to put in Virginia. Our corporate headquarters is in Tyson's Corner. But our first plant's in Mississippi because it's hard when the governor there is very aggressively courting you and offers me over $10 million in incentives. At the end of the day, I have a fiduciary responsibility to my shareholders. I have got to go right with the best deal. I will be, hopefully, in the next 6 months announcing our next factory, which will be 3,000 employees. I am hoping to put this in Virginia, so anyone who has any influence, we need a car manufacturing plant here in Virginia. You cannot go to Martinsville, Virginia with 17.8% unemployment and tell me we don't need a manufacturing facility here in Virginia. So I continue to talk about this. You know, it's not only the cars. You just saw Tennessee got a $3 billion investment to build a lithium battery for the new Nissan Leaf. So it's everything that sort of comes off of it. And that's what we need here in Virginia. You may have read the other day that I've been trying for 14 months to get control of the shuttered International Paper facility down in the city of Franklin, which was shut down in November of 2009. Very sad. 1,100 people lost their jobs. We've just been given a letter of intent to go in, and we're going to reopen the factory, and we're going to make wood pellets, which you mix with coal in Europe, and you mix them to reduce the CO2 emission, and all of those wood pellets will now be made here in Virginia, taken to the port, and now shipped over to Europe, saving a lot of jobs at the International Paper plant. So that's the latest project that we've done. need some help, I see Mike Henry in the back room. I know he voted for me since he's actually on my payroll. So we're up to 3. Eileen, where were you on the election? Sure, I was with you, Terry. I love you. But, you know, I'm here for Scott because there are a lot of things we need to do, and you all know the story. I mean, we haven't moved this ball forward. We did a transportation plan, which, in my view, I've talked about for a long time, was all they did in these 1.1 billion garbage bonds is take federal money, future appropriations, move them forward, and put an interest rate on them. And if the federal government cuts transportation, then guess where that money comes from? It comes out of health care, it comes out of education. The bonding, the $1.8 billion in bonding, just the general bonding, we didn't have a repayment mechanism, folks. This governor is kicking the can down the road. Don't tell me we got a $200 million surplus. Hello, Taddy, how are you? Beautiful. Don't tell me we have a $200 million surplus. We didn't do the VRS $620 million. We put a 5-year interest rate 7.5%. That's not a surplus. And over $490 million we borrowed for the unemployment benefits from the federal government, which we got to pay back. We got big issues. We need big Democrats to solve those big issues here in Virginia, and that's why I'm here for Scott. We got to make sure we pick up seats here. We pick up more seats in the Senate. We got to make sure that Barack Obama carries Virginia again. And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll bring up Scott, is that it will not happen unless we have a message and we convey that message. I've said publicly I thought the party in 2010 was a disgrace. We had no message. Barack Obama saved our economy. He saved the auto industry. He passed the largest middle-class tax cut in the history of the United States of America. All these great things he did. And the idea that we lost 63 seats, the most since 1948, shame on us. If we don't have a message, the Republicans will define it. We can't let them do that to us again. Don't let them tell you that they are the party of fiscal responsibility. When Ronald Reagan became president, our debt was $900 billion. It became $2.7 trillion. That's a 186% increase. George Bush 1 took it up 86%. George Bush 2 doubled the debt. Ronald Reagan raised taxes 11 times. The idea that they're the party of fiscal responsibility, let's just deal. You're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. One president in our country in modern history actually had 4 years of balanced budgets, 2 years of surpluses, and created 22.7 million jobs. He was a Democrat. His name was Bill Clinton. And Barack Obama inherited an economy that was losing 800,000 jobs a month, and you look what's happened. We just had a great, we're now creating about 200,000 to 300,000 jobs a month. We got a long way to go. We got to create 1.8 million jobs just to keep up with population growth. Forget about the 17.5 million. Folks, if you want to get this country moving, if you want to get Virginia moving, you got to elect Democrats. You got to stand up, you got to fight, you got to make your voice known. You can't hide, you can't whine, you can't complain. It is time to fight. The greatest fighter in Virginia for the Democratic Party in the Commonwealth, Scott Surovell.